biggest complaints that I had before starting this program was having to take all the health medicine that I needed to take, the Ozempic, the metformin, the Synjardy, and for my diabetes, yeah. And and my blood sugars would be at a certain level, even with all those medicines, it wasn't coming down. They were high. Yeah, they weren't coming under 100. I never saw numbers under 100, hardly ever. And since I started this program, they're constantly under 100, with no meds. Exactly. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest deals. And then, my body doesn't ache as much as it used to. I used to have some body aches, and those seem to have subsided. And I'm a high voltage lineman by trade. I did that for 41 years, 37 of them actually climbing and doing the line work. So this was a struggle. It's still not the best, but I can lift my arms and stuff like that because working with your hands above your head, doing high voltage line work is just the norm. It was physical work for long hours. So for me, that aha moment with my health was when, after a couple weeks into the program, uh, testing my blood sugar, and all of a sudden it's like in the 80s, and it's like, and that was an aha moment because up until that point, I never really saw a number in the 80s. Yeah, and it was controlled. And then I decided that during this period of time that maybe I'll cut back on my medicine. So I started cutting back on my medicine, and guess what? The numbers didn't change. And then I decided that, I'm not going to take any medicine, and we'll see what the numbers are like. And guess what? The numbers are better now than they were when I was taking the medicine. So it's kind of like that aha moment was, why in the heck was I not learning about this way back when? And I don't want to badmouth doctors, but F them, because basically they're not getting me healthy. They're just kind of giving me something to keep the number in the cycle of being sick. I don't want to stay sick. If diabetes is a sickness or an illness, and there's a cure for this illness, why aren't you teaching me what the cure is for this illness versus just masking the illness by keeping me on the medicines that you're giving me? Yeah, and when I see that doctor, I'll tell him, what I'm telling you, because I'm not one to. We were talking about this on the way over, me and my buddy. It's about the delivery. Sometimes my delivery isn't the best delivery, and it might sound condescending sometimes, but it is what it is. It comes out of my mouth, and I'm okay with what I say, and if it needs to be said, I'll say it. Okay, so I was talking with my brother here about retirement, and he told me one day, he says, hey, Dad died at 63. He goes, you're 60, going to be 64. He goes, you probably only got about 10 or 15 more summers left, and do you want to spend them working? And I pondered that thought for a couple minutes, and I want to say about a week later, I pulled the pin. I retired, and that was good enough for me to hear that, because I didn't want to be spending on work. And I got so much time. I can't buy time. I've been offered a whole lot of money to go back to work, and we were talking about that too. And money doesn't buy time. I only have a certain amount of time on this earth, and I want to spend it with family and doing the things that I like doing. Could go today, I could go tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to go, but I want to make the best of the time that I have right now. So yeah, yeah, maybe I'll be able to spend all my inheritance that I'm giving to my kids. So what has improved in the last couple months from 3 months ago? 3 months ago I was sitting on the couch, taking naps during the day because I was tired of being watching TV. You know what I mean? Where now I don't take as many naps, and I'm busy, and I'm not sitting on the couch watching TV. I'm actually doing some other stuff, whether hiking. I went hiking on a hike on Tuesday. I did 8 miles on Tuesday from a guy who doesn't normally go for hikes. I did 8 miles on the first day. I went golfing yesterday. I go motorcycle riding over the weekend. I do a lot of other activities versus watching the TV like I used to, and I don't have to nap as much. I shot an 86. Yeah, so yeah, I shot an 86 golfing, and you know, I'm doing a lot better golfing than I was before. I feel better about making my health related decisions, absolutely, and I didn't realize it would make such a big impact on the rest of, how the way I feel and stuff like that by making these better health decisions. I'm not sitting there eating a tub of ice cream or eating a bag of kettle corn while I'm watching TV, and I'm not eating all those cookies and milk and stuff like that. I came to this thing and not intentionally wanted to lose weight. I came into this because I wanted to get off the diabetes medicine, but as a byproduct of doing this deal, I just happened to lose probably 26 pounds. I've lost 6 inches in the waist. Um, and I wasn't looking for any of that stuff. That was just a byproduct of what has happened.